Hello everyone, my name is Aditi and I'm a consultant with Encryption Consulting. This is the first video of our NIST compliance series. In this video, we will focus on the updated 2.0 Cybersecurity Framework, which was released by NIST in February 2024. We'll start with understanding the new framework and its various components. Next, we'll explore how we can manage risk with the help of updated version. Following that, addressing some common gaps that may lead to organizations' poor security posture. So, first topic introduces the new framework and explains the basics of Cybersecurity Framework core. This version 2 of NIST Cybersecurity Framework is designed to benefit organizations of all types and sizes, offering long-term guidance on the security parameters. One of the advantages of this framework is that it is written in simple language. Therefore, it can be understood by a broad audience, including the executives, managers, the IT staff, regardless of the cybersecurity expertise. It is classified into three components: core, tiers, and profiles. Starting with the core, which tells how should organization approach the NIST guidelines. Basically, it is designed to match the needs of people who handle the risk management at a higher or business level. The functions are the main pillar of cybersecurity operations, which are classified as govern. It ensures to follow the defined strategy and policies, from identifying risk to planning the response. Identify finds out what assets and risks the organization has and decides what needs protection and how to manage risks. Protect describes how to keep valuable information safe from threats, what measures can be implemented, such as access control and data protection. Detect to examine potential security threats. This helps in catching issues early and understanding them. Respond takes action when the security incident happens, explaining how the situation can be managed and damage can be reduced. Recover after any incident, how well can organization restore their system and sensitive data can be recovered smoothly. These main areas forms the functions. Each function is broken down into smaller parts called categories, which are groups of related goals. These categories have more specific tasks to reach that goal called subcategories. While these subcategories gives a lot of details, they don't cover every possible situation. They just give a good idea of what needs to be done to support each category. For example, in the function protect, a category might be data security. Within data security, a subcategory could be encrypting sensitive data, for example, the PII or PHI data. Also, the sequence or importance of achieving the functions, categories, and subcategories in the code is not implied by their orders and size. They can be addressed according to the unique needs and priorities of the organization. Coming to profile, there are two types of profile. The organizational, which is based on core outcome of the organization, and community profile represents common standards and practices that these organizations follow to manage their cybersecurity risks. By following these steps, an organizational profile describes how well your organization is performing in cybersecurity standards now and what it aims to achieve in the future as target state. Considering upcoming changes like new requirements, standards, and technologies, and a target profile allows you to communicate your cybersecurity goals and expectations to suppliers and other third parties so they can understand what you need them to achieve. Starting with the scope of profile, which defines what profile will be covered, such as the entire organization or the specific areas, for example, the financial system or any particular cyber threat. Then, collecting all the necessary details to prepare the organizational profile, like cryptographic controls and standards, the policies, risk priorities, which helps in deciding what information to include based on your goals and document it. Basically, using details from current profile to shape the target profile. Analyze gaps to identify areas of improvement between the current and target state and develop a plan to address these gaps and update the profile as needed. Lastly, just follow your plan to address these gaps and update the organization profile as you make progress. The successful implementation of the organizational profile leads to the implementation tiers, which tells how to plan the approach of handling those identified security risks. It describes levels, which basically helps the team to communicate or understand the security posture of your organization, or mapping the progress of risk management. Moving to higher tier is suggested if there are more risk or requirements, or if it's worth the cost to better protect against cybersecurity threats. Based on the current profile and target profile analysis in the organizational profile previously, if your organization is at tier 1, partial, it means there's a limited awareness of cybersecurity risk and there's a lack of internal process for sharing the cybersecurity information within your organization. Tier 2, risk informed, means the organization is aware of the cybersecurity risk, but there's no consistent approach to managing them or does not respond in a more structured way. For example, cyber risk assessments are conducted but not regularly. Whereas Tier 3 repeatable means that the organization has a clear plan for managing risk and shares the information regularly. It responds well to risk changes. The executive or the key stakeholder members ensures that the secure data flow is practiced in all the areas of organization. In repeatable, the organization's practice are formally approved and expressed as policy. But moving to tier 4, adaptive, the organization updates its cybersecurity practices based on the past experience and current activities and maintains up to date information to manage risks from suppliers and products. Now, the policies are risk informed policies. Now, let's understand how this latest framework helps in managing and communicating the security risk in your organization. The way an organization uses the cybersecurity framework depends on its specific goals and risks. By understanding what stakeholders expect and how much risk they can handle. The way an organization uses the cybersecurity framework depends on its specific goals and risks. By understanding what stakeholders expect and how much risk they can handle, an organization can prioritize its cybersecurity efforts and make smart decisions about spending and actions. For example, reducing risk might help your organization increase the revenue by using the excess space for hosting the service and then simplifying critical system to reduce the cost. But to achieve that, it is necessary to understand the approach of effectively handling the risk in your organization and aligning it with NIST 2.0 functions, starting with understanding what's at risk. By identifying the valuable assets containing the sensitive data and risk related to them, your organization figures out what is the definition of risk for it and how can potential threats be avoided by implementing access control. The executive members use it to set cybersecurity goals and ensures these goals align with the overall business objectives. Knowing the risk tolerance helps the organization to prioritize risk by taking the regular compliance audits and assessments to identify the gaps and areas of improvement. According to the set cybersecurity goals, the managers use the framework to implement the security protocols. Monitoring the risk. By implementing effective strategy, organizations improve their ability to quickly notice changes in technology, business, or threats that hampers their risk exposure. The proper monitoring helps the executive members to make informed decisions and adjust the strategies as needed. Similarly, managing the six core functions can achieve the outcome your organization is looking for. For example, you first identify and categorize critical assets with identify, then secure them with protect. Good planning and govern and identify helps improve finding the risk and detect, and also support how you respond to and recover from the incident with respond and recover. And govern is the center because it guides how all the other functions are carried out. Let me give you an example of how this risk management can be practiced in your organization. The govern function helps the key stakeholder to communicate about cybersecurity and its impact on achieving organizational goals. Then Stakeholders discuss strategies, risk management, rules, and policies, setting priorities and expectations for handling risks. Managers and the IT team of your organization then use these priorities to implement and monitor the control. The team focus on managing specific risks and providing updates on the cybersecurity status. This information helps executives to adjust strategies and maintain effective risk management. Updated organizational profile reflects any change in expectation and priorities. To better understand where your organization currently stands in achieving each function that meets the NIST compliance, this questionnaire will help you make complex cybersecurity issues clear and easy to understand, as well as align them with the functions of NIST 2.0 framework. Starting with govern, where you'll first understand the organization's goal and see how they communicate their cybersecurity practice to key people. This includes how they manage risk, such as issues with their suppliers. Next, moving on to identify, here you'll find out if the organization regularly checks their cybersecurity measures and ensures that sensitive data like personal and payment information is well protected. Then, in protect, look at how they handle responsibilities and roles to avoid conflicts and keep their systems secure. In detect, see how they protect their resources from threats like phishing or brute force attack. Finally, if the threat is detected, check what steps they take to address the issue and restore any affected system and information. This process ties everything together, ensuring the cybersecurity practices are effective and continuously improving. Achieving NIST compliance can be complicated because it depends on how well your organization currently meets the standards and if there are any gaps between the current state security and the targeted security. Your organization can handle risk in many ways, including transferring to another party or minimizing the gaps. However, this process becomes much easier if you identify and address the gaps in the early stage. So here are some common mistakes that organization may tend to overlook, but can turn into major compliance issues later. For example, inadequate staff training. It's important that the IT or the security team should make sure that the necessary encryption standards are followed within the organization. File integrated monitoring. Keeping a detailed list of all your assets will help you quickly detect and respond to any compromises in your file system. Proper access control. Ensure only authorized individuals can access sensitive information. This can be achieved by enforcing the role-based access control, which is also necessary for FIPS 140-2 compliance. Weak policy enforcement. Cryptographic controls and standards such as encryption algorithm and key size used for generating the encryption keys to secure the sensitive data must be compliant to NIST standards. Preventing such common gaps can lead to strong cybersecurity posture further and enhances the compliance to NIST 2.0 standards. Based on the experience of encryption consulting team with multiple organizations, here are some of the potential cryptographic controls that are sometimes overlooked, including the gaps identified. The cryptographic key used to generate the root certificate authority should be stored in FIPS 140-2 compliant HSM or hardware security module to prevent unauthorized access and potential compromise. Maintaining an encryption key inventory helps in tracking changes in cryptographic controls. For example, which encryption key are in use, their status, and their life cycle, and monitoring unidentified assets, which further helps in auditing and is necessary factor for NIST 2.0 compliant. Rotating encryption keys more frequently than once a year is recommended to reduce the risk of key compromise. Older keys can become vulnerable over time, and regular rotation minimizes the window of opportunity for attackers to exploit them. To sum it up, NIST 2.0 Cybersecurity Framework outlines desired outcomes that are meant to be clear for a wide range of people, including the executive members, managers, or team leads. The outcomes are linked to potential security controls that can be used in the right way to manage the cybersecurity risk. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned for the next video of the NIST 2.0 compliance series, where we'll explore the updates and changes from the previous framework to the NIST 2.0 version.